won't waste time with a lengthy intro. SAO is pretty infamous at this point, so much so that I have never seen it, and yet I am very aware of its plot, settings, and characters, its history, and how it has risen and fallen again and again. Really, this video is just a fun experiment to see if I can entertain people with my outsider's perspective on a show that everyone should know about. As the title has spoiled, I've never watched SAO. I think my first exposure to it was seeing it on the MAL seasonal chart back when it first came out and I was just starting the seasonal grind. Oh, what's this? Sword Art Online? What's it about? In the year 2022, virtual reality has progressed by leaps and bounds, and a massive online role-playing game called Sword Art Online is launched. With the aid of nerve gear technology, players can control their avatars within the game using nothing but their own thoughts. Kazuto Kirigaya, nicknamed Kirito, is among the lucky few enthusiasts who get their hands on the first shipment of the game. He logs in to find himself, with 10,000 others, in the scenic and elaborate world of Aincrad, one full of fantastic medieval weapons and gruesome monsters. However, in a cruel turn of events, the players soon realize they cannot log out. The game's hack sign. I didn't like that anime. In fact, I dropped it after 4 episodes. Skip. I do vaguely remember one time while channel surfing late at night that an episode of SAO Dub was playing on TV. It was the one where Kirito goes with the Black Cat skill to look for treasure, and they end up in a room that's way above the other players' levels. I watched it until the end, to see if I would be interested in the show afterwards. The blue-haired girl's message was touching, and it filled me in on the plot point that Kirito was actually really strong compared to the rest of his guild. I will admit, I was moved, but I also recognized that the show wasn't for me. Melodrama and stuff. I only just remember this even happened as I'm writing my 3rd draft of this script. I had completely forgotten about it. That was all that SAO was to me, a forgotten memory. Until the Anitube Circle had started making videos about how bad the show was. I believe the first video I saw about it may have been DigiNay's breakdown of it nearly 6 years ago. If not, then it had to have been close to that time, since from what I can gather from the Pedantic Romantics video about the history of SAO's standing as related to before and after that video was posted. I think I had found it a year after the video itself was posted, because I remember being a Digi fan before watching that video. The video itself is a deconstruction of each element and major plot threads of the series. Digi's issues with Kirito as the main character, hypothesizing on why the author structured the story the way they did, Asuna being the only good thing about the show before the second half ruined her. A solid foundation for learning about SAO, with some entertainment value in Digi's delivery and format. She went into greater detail with her videos covering the Death Gun arc in the same year. That's where I truly got my first taste of how the show looked and just how disjointed the writing and the presentation was. I think I was already subscribed to Mother's Basement before he had made his first video breaking down all of SAO's OPs, starting his melodramatic love story with the franchise, and letting me get to know more about the series past the Death Gun arc. Jeff's unnatural obsession with the franchise has been a huge influence on how much I know about it, but even in this video there is some dissonance as he starts out saying that the OPs are bad, but then praises a few of them for their presentation. He had built a narrative but couldn't honestly stick to it. I should have picked up on this back then, but there's not much I can do about it now. There have been other YouTubers that I've seen talk about the series from time to time, but from my perspective, Jeff has the most consistency when finding interesting ways to talk about the show, using it as a good cornerstone base for comparing it to other anime. It serves as a well-known anime that makes a good starting point for talking about how good or bad an anime is or can be. A quick Side note, I'm sure many of you can relate, but my family didn't understand why I liked anime from the very beginning, even though I've been consistently interested in it since 2008, if not earlier than that. And they still seem to be under the impression that it's a phase. But when I was in high school, my grandma heard about me being into anime, and she wanted to get me something nice for my birthday. So she got me a Leafa figure. I had a friend that was into SAO, so I gave it to him since I didn't like the show. But I do have to appreciate that she at least tried to get me something I like and didn't try to belittle me for liking it. Speaking of that friend, they tried to get me to watch SAO, but I was fully seated on the bandwagon at that point. I'm a little embarrassed to bring it up, but I took pleasure in deconstructing every good thing that a fan of SAO would bring up about it. I've grown past that point because it is childish and idiotic. And I would look like a hypocrite because I like stuff like this. So, no matter what, I am not allowed to judge. I've kept up with SAO news from Tumblr and the occasional YouTube recommended video. Stuff like how the characters all have the same face and just ridiculous plot developments. One video that caught me off guard was when I discovered unique name Osmosis channel and found his video about Sword Art Online 2 and how it was pretty good. At least one part of it was good. More than good, even. Amazing. The Mother's Rosario arc with the Sleeping Knights Guild took such a surprising turn that when watching this video, it was hard to believe that it really was SAO. Not only that, but Unique deconstructed the delicate little tower I had placed myself in when I joined the bandwagon and made me question, why? I've never seen the show, so why should I be making judgments about whether it's good or not? It was a really big shock and definitely helped me change my mind from mindlessly hating on the show to, okay, they can have their cake and eat it too. Rewatching it for the sake of this script, I found myself nearly having to hold back tears at the descriptions of the plot being given, and at how tired Unique seemed to be at the hatred being fun about. That was depressing. Let's talk about SAO abridged. Though, to be honest, I'm not sure what I can say that others haven't said already. It's fucking funny. It's as close as I've gotten to watching the show, I guess. But only in that I have the foundation of watching all those review and analysis videos of the show lingering in my mind as I connect the dots on how the original plot may have gone compared to the hilarious storytelling of this parody. As of writing this part of the script, episode 15 just came out a few days ago. I'm not going to be the first or last to praise the writing of the series, but damn, I'm invested. The sarcastic delivery of the lines is right up my alley in terms of comedy, and I have grown to love the aesthetic of the itty-bitty anger eyes. A lot of good laugh-out-loud moments. Fuck, what now? To help balance the scales a bit more for this video, I found and asked a fan of SAO why they liked the show and what drew them to it in the first place. They admitted to the first season not being a good start, but the foundation is set and the timing of the series is what made an impact on him. The MMORPG element certainly did help matters when it came to finding a reason to be interested in the show. Others have deconstructed this notion, but we're not talking about them right now. They acknowledge the mess of the plot in the first 2 seasons due to the power fantasy aspect of Kirito overshadowing every other aspect that may have been likable, but they admit to Mother's Rosario being one of their favorite parts, showing that the future of the series did have potential to be good, if not better than that. They recently started watching season 3, probably took a break due to toxic hate burnout, and they've said that this season is their favorite so far due to the linear progression of the story and the theme of what it means to be human. From what I can gather about this is that they like SAO for its characters, but recognize and are able to criticize it for its faults and use of tropes. So, a very healthy relationship with a work of fiction. Who knew? Mostly in the modern era, I just leave SAO alone, unless Jeff makes another video about it. And I did enjoy DigiNay's short series about Alicization. And of course, the research I did for this script counts as well. But before that, the most recent news I heard about the series is Giga bringing up the new season in his seasonal review video. I asked my source for some recommendations on positive SEO videos so that I can be even more informed. So here we go. The video was by Annie News, and I found myself being immediately drawn in by the explanations given about the world building of SAO that they laid out. I think Jeff had mentioned some world building in his videos, but his presentation and attitude made it a blink and you'll miss it kind of thing. But yeah, the world building with the different kinds of nerve gear and the floodlight is really cool. It made me have to step back and reconsider my thoughts on the world of SAO. Remember, I hadn't had much positive interaction with the show. They cover the basics of the first two cores of Alicization that I had previously learned about in other videos, but then they go even further into talking about what's going on in the current season, or current as of writing this script. Namely, the war. The war where Kirito has been sidelined and development is being given to the side characters as well as Kirito's friends. Watching the clips being shown on screen of the fight scenes in the war, can they be called fight scenes? Can I call fight scenes? The scale is so big with the use of magic fucking cannons and projectiles that it seems so epic. There's this one guy that seems to fight using magic fists, but not much is shown of him, and I'm mad because I want to know more about him. I highly recommend watching the video yourself. I don't want to just end up copying and pasting their points here, as it is effective in making me interested in actually watching the show. I am aware of the series Sword Art Online Progressive, an attempt on the author's part to rewrite the series, taking it nice and slow from the very beginning. I haven't seen any SAO as of yet, but if that series gets adapted, I think it would be a good place to start, you know? A reboot of the franchise that is hopefully much better and worth my time. That is if I don't cave and watch Alicization first. Thank you for watching. Do let me know if this was a fun time for you. I want to try and make this a series, where I review a show or something purely by observing the fandom and other outside influences, like online reviewers and such. Do come back to my channel for more shit like this.